Okay, Monday, July 1st, 2024, coming back from the gym. You can hear the generators banging in the back. That's the first thing. I'll talk about two things today. Electricity shortages and that presidential debate. I'm sure you all want to hear what I think. But yeah, we're down to like 50%. It feels like the electricity is off more than it's on. But maybe it's on when I'm sleeping in the middle of the night. I feel the lights flickering on and off. We have car battery backup for the two important things, the internet and my computer so I can work, and the rest we manage. We have some rechargeable flashlights and everything, and we have some power banks, to run the low voltage items in the house. So you can see these apartment blocks behind me. I don't know why they can't build these things in the U.S. I mean, they always turn into projects over there, like I was saying in a previous video, but here they're nice middle-class neighborhoods with families and what have you. So, it's, I'm used to this. I've been in India many times, and this is just normal without even a war. In India, you'll have water cuts, power cuts. So, but what I worry is the trend, right? Is it going to get worse, or this is stabilized? I don't think it's stabilized. I think in the winter, it's risks. We risk freezing. Even though we have gas here, all the furnaces have electrical controllers. I don't know if I want to change out the furnace to something completely gas-fired, which has like an igniter, manual igniter or something like that. I'm not sure yet. The ones with electrical controllers save a lot of energy, a lot more efficient, a lot easier to manage. But it looks like we're either moving to Denmark or Delaware, leaning on Denmark right now. Kalundborg, Denmark, or Bervard. It's a suburb of Copenhagen, I found. They have good schools. Although I'm not sure what's a good school in Denmark. Someone was coming to Lviv and read it from Denmark and asked me if I'm like a misogynist and posting all these anti-gay memes and stuff like this. I never did anything like that. I don't know what's with people. Yes, I'm like a conservative Democrat, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm progressive, but I do believe in family values and all this kind of thing, and kind of like a Clinton Democrat. That kind of, or Jimmy Carter Democrat, or John F. Kennedy Democrat. Family first, and not attacking family values and this kind of thing. That's why I don't even have Netflix. All this woke stuff is being rammed down our throat. 99% of the people aren't that way. But I tolerate it, but I don't accept it. It's like, it's the law. I am not for discrimination and segregation and all this, but it's just something I don't like. It's like there's a difference, between preferences and prejudices, and as long as it doesn't get in the way of your decisions at work. In work, I'm completely objective. I work with all kinds of people, but on a personal level, I have a right to my own preferences and choices. So that's the way it is. But back to the electric shortages. So I probably won't be meeting this guy. He's like one of these, these. You meet a lot of these types in Scandinavia. These like self-righteous liberals and everything. They're a really annoying type. They're the kind of people that put Europe into this mess where it can't fight anymore. They spent the last generation, flying rainbows, learning Photoshop, and posting on social media, while the Russians and the Chinese have been building up a war machine. And social media posts and memes don't win wars. We need people in the factories building weapons, putting ordnance on target, and extreme violence. Extreme but controlled violence wins wars. Posting on LinkedIn or Reddit or all this is not going to stop the Russians telling them that they're war criminals. I think they know that already and don't really care. And losing 1,000 men a day, that means they have at least 20 years, left to keep going, with India and Iran and China sustaining them and North Korea. So they have their like little axis of evil. They're not an island. They're not alone. And I think all this kind of woke stuff, it's a hobby, and it shouldn't be impressed on people in the workplace. The workplace is a place to work and create GDP for your country. I don't go talking about what I did in the bedroom at the office. I talk about work, talk about agile, talk about project management, and I certainly don't want the company logo, reflecting my values. I don't want like a cross on it or anything like that. I just want the company logo to be the company logo, not a rainbow, not a cross, or anything like that, or, Democrat donkey, yeah, sure as hell not that. But yeah, and that leads me into the debate, and yeah, a lot of this European like wokeness, right? They decide to go off nuclear power and depend on Russia for energy. And now here we are. They have to rebuild all these plants, reopen them. It's like 10 years with the regulations. If they lifted all the regulations, it could be done in a year, if they really threw their back into it. But it doesn't work that way. Everything goes through lawyers. But anyway, it's all this wokeness got us in this mess. It's weakened Europe, weakened the perception of Europe and America. And the Russians decided to make their move. And here we are living in, blackouts. And, I hope it doesn't get too hot today. Our building faces the west, so, and we're on a low floor. So we can retain a lot of the cooling. We have kind of this like, Phoenician cooling system, where there's a cold current in the hallway, and then, the warm currents are in the apartment that gets pushed out, kind of, back in ancient Iran and stuff, they actually had natural air conditioning. They found a way to use the differences in hot and cold. But anyway, that's what I like about, I hope you guys like about this. I take some tangents. I'm going unscripted here. But yeah, so all this electrical outages, it takes a long time to rebuild electrical infrastructure. We have to look to move out. I just want to make sure I'm out of the sun. The sun is coming in here, this is better. Yeah, moving out of Ukraine, probably more likely Denmark than Delaware. It's closer. They got the medical system. I can get on my feet there a little bit quicker. In the US, it's a big apparatus to get over there and get set up. But once you're set up, like I say, you earn more. But I don't want to live in this car culture. I want to walk everywhere. This is really something I've enjoyed in life, is walking. And every small thing in America has to be done with a car, except if you're in New York, LA, New York, San Francisco, or Jersey City. Those are the only three cities that came up as walkable to European standard, and all three of those cities are really expensive. So I think a village in Denmark, most villages in Scandinavia are walkable. They have like a center and everything is there, doctor office, supermarket, and what have you. So it's all like a Lego planogram type of thing, and easy to manage. Hopefully you can find some like-minded people, avoid these, these fruitcakes, as one would say, that have put us in this mess. They have made the whole agenda, economy, and values into a system that cannot stand under pressure. It's it's like, even like militarily, yes, NATO can definitely beat Russia, but politically, the Russians have already infiltrated and appealed to the traditionalists, and it got them on side. It's they made it so one-sided that if you believe in family values, you're a misogynist, and if you don't have pink hair, you're a bad person or something. And they've isolated those people. And then the Russians came and filled that void. And now, like, Macron is out, Le Pen is in, and AFD is rising. And now talking about this debate, holy crap. That was worse than the CNN interview that Trump had given, where he destroyed that CNN reporter. He messed her career up. You know, it's like, and they have to have the debates. They can't silence him. You know, they have to go through this. And, I'm sorry, debates in U.S. politics is about delivery, not about substance. You know, it's about packaging and delivery, not about the substance. You know, so it's like in life, right? There's a product, there's how you get it to market, and then how you package it so that people will buy it. And most of the time, the product don't even matter. If you have good logistics and good packaging, it don't even matter what's in the box. You know, there's a lot of good products with bad packaging, and you know what? They don't sell. They don't sell. But the Democrats, they've got to get Gavin Newsom. He's the only one that's viable right now. Him and this Gretchen Whitmer is the vice president. You know, her from Michigan. They're the only ones I think that have a chance of winning. You know, and they're going to be on the back foot the whole way. But maybe they can mount up a platform and ease off the woke a bit, and come up with some border policy to counter Trump's arguments. I mean, at least they can speak, right? The Democrats need somebody who can talk. You know, if you can't talk, you're screwed. I mean, that's like in your job or anything. You know, this was a disaster. You know, I'm rooting for Joe Biden. I mean, like, just on the CHIPS Act alone, the fact that he wants to bring the semiconductor industry back to America, that alone should win him the election. You know, the Democrats have to educate people about the importance of semiconductors, the jobs it can bring, and why we have to have them, and how it sets us apart and ahead from the rest of the world is a semiconductor industry. But what happened to the Democrats, I don't know, maybe this was a move. I was reading that this was a move from within the party to expose Biden and be able to pivot. There's still time. This is like at the 11th hour, you know, and they got one more hour to go. So if they can pivot now, there's still a hope that they can pull something off in November. But right now, like your Americans who don't live in Ukraine, either they're not going to vote. You know, you have like these lazy Democratic voters. They will only vote if like Taylor Swift is the vice president, which I think maybe Gavin Newsom, Taylor Swift would be the ticket if they really want to win. Like I told in a previous video, like how capable Taylor Swift is actually. She's a very capable businesswoman, more capable than Trump even, you know, and she's managed her life. She comes from a very wealthy family that has managed money very well. You know, asset manager. Her father's an asset manager and done very well at it. So it's in her blood, you know, and but you know, Gavin Newsom, right? There was some interview with him, and he thinks Kamala Harris should be the front runner. You know, that was a long back. I don't know what his view is now. I mean, Bloomberg says he's ready to jump in, so there's a lot of mixed news going on. But then the Biden family says Biden will continue, which means we have to start preparing for a Trump presidency. But the ideal ticket would be like Gavin Newsom, you know, and he just has to fix a few things on the Democrat agenda to get that 51%, you know, or win those swing states at least. But I think he'd do okay. I think he's like a version of Joe Biden that can talk. I think he'd be okay, you know. And Gretchen Whitmer, I read up on her. She's likable. She has charisma. She's from a swing state like Michigan, so she can bring one of those swing states to the side, you know, possibly. But the Democrats have got some. They've got to think about. Are they willing to be so idealistic that it costs them an election? That they're, you know, there's like something between, like they say in the military, they're not looking for the best person, they're looking for the right person. You know, the Democrats might have the best of intentions, they might have the best agenda, the best economy, and all this, but they're not the right party for America. You know, America needs America, like everyone else, wants strong leaders. I was reading about history. A lot of the leaders were warriors, like top warriors, generals, people who could get in front of audiences and speak and inspire and get people to do things they normally wouldn't do. And the Democrats, I don't know, they think that we've evolved past this and everything is based purely on like intellect, and that we're going to read a debate transcript. Now, people want to hear the words and see the movement and the body language and the gestures. The transcript, yeah, on paper, Biden did pretty good. If you read the transcript, and you could unscramble his words, and fill in the gaps and, understand what he stood for, he probably did pretty well. I mean, I read through a lot of the transcript and it looked like he did pretty good on paper. But when I watched the video, it was a disaster. I mean, in the first few minutes, he was already gaffing and bumbling. And this is on the Democrats. If they lose this election, this is on them. It's not on Trump. Trump is doing what Trump is doing. He's doing what he's supposed to do, being the resident a-hole and being the opposition and being the voice for a very discontent people, or brainwashed people. And the Democrats have to learn how to play the game and fight it and win, and not using court cases either. That's just made Trump more popular. I think all these convictions have made him some kind of like messiah for these people. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what world they're living in. If they put Kamala Harris as the front runner, or if they keep Biden, we are screwed. We are screwed. I mean, Trump has hinted from a Ukrainian perspective. A lot of people here tell me that he would give closure. But it's like, what happens after? Like, we get the ceasefire. Would they rebuild Ukraine's military, or Ukraine would be just left in a state like Georgia? And between the right wing in Europe and Trump's party, there won't be any chance of NATO or any chance of even getting rebuilding funds. It would be some, but it wouldn't be like if we had a NATO agreement that Wall Street would feel confident to rebuild this place. I mean, there would be plenty of opportunity if we had some security agreement here to build like 20 nuclear power plants, reopen these airports, get construction underway. We would need waves of immigrants. Someone wrote in the comments that they don't support immigration for Ukraine. Ukraine will die slowly, die out. As soon as they lift this border restriction, everyone's leaving, and Ukrainians will just get absorbed into other cultures. You might have like this Ukrainian village in Chicago, but those aren't real Ukrainians. In Ukrainian village, they have some restaurants that serve borscht, but most of those people are just Americans with a Ukrainian surname, going to work every day. And a lot of them are Republicans, if they have a lot of money. It's just how it is, you just get absorbed into the society. So that's one way Ukraine could end up. The other way is this Georgia way. It's just becomes some rug, and it just stays in limbo like forever. I mean, Russians will be satisfied with what they have, and what's left of Ukraine will just not be like some individuals like myself buying apartments or something, or maybe some people opening some restaurants, but there won't be any big institutional investment coming in, like big. It might be small, but not big. So Democrats got to win this. They've got to get to an agreement that includes NATO membership, and then they got to get rebuilding, and life has got to go on. But if they don't fix this Biden problem and let the guy retire, I mean, let him enjoy what's left of his life. He's like in the same state of mind as Jimmy Carter. Let him play with his grandkids and put this Gavin Newsom up front and see what he can do. Gavin can talk and he can debate, and maybe the next two debates will go in the Democrats' favor. And people always remember the last debate over the first debate. So there's two more debates, right? They can win those two, and people always remember what happened in the 2 weeks ago. They don't remember what happened 2 months ago or 2 years ago. Nobody cares about that, So that's how the game works. I hope they get this memo, you know. And but I don't want to move. You can't even believe how much mental stress this is to think about moving. This was supposed to be my last stop in life, to live here in Ukraine. And you know, I'd probably move out of this apartment into a house on this thing called Streetsky Park, you know, so my daughter can just go play in the park every day and have some peace and quiet versus all this noise and, you know, risk getting hit by a car or something when she starts walking. That's the only one move left, I was thinking, to move on to a neighborhood with a cul-de-sac, you know, where there's less traffic and walking distance to a major park in the city. But this whole idea of moving to Denmark and how to manage that with a kid and how much stuff we'd have to rebuy and how much stuff we'd have to leave behind, you know, it's a hell of a lot of bureaucracy. And you know, so like to move stuff over there, you know, if we take a moving van, all that stuff has to be customs cleared, and I don't know if I have to pay taxes on it or not. You know, probably not, because it's personal goods and it's within a year, but it's a lot to think about, a lot of money. It's just extremely costly to move. So yeah, anyway, that's all I got, and we'll see you.